Thank you. So this is the book, Against the Tide. My journey on a less trodden path. There's an experience here which I shared, how I got my first job, but I start with before I even went to law school. Even before I completed high school, for instance, I had worked as an untrained primary school teacher while waiting to join high school, and later as a high school teacher while waiting to join university. It was not unusual for the Ministry of Education then to recruit and deploy students with a given education level to rural schools to teach younger learners, with many starting as untrained teachers before later going for in-service training. The same scarcity of skilled human resources affected Kenya's justice and legal sector at the time of our graduation and entry into the Kenya School of Law. Local courts needed magistrates, and the then principal of Kenya School of Law, Mr. Tudor Jackson, was asked to recommend students for fast-tracking for this government appointment. This was how I found myself among those interviewed for the position of magistrate even before I graduated from the Kenya School of Law. It was not, however, just magistrates that were needed. Other candidates had been shortlisted to work in various ministries, such as Foreign Affairs and Cooperatives, Ministry of Cooperatives, as well as Internal Security as district officers. Although I had expressed interest in being considered for the position of magistrate, we had been informed that there was no guarantee that one would get what their hearts desired. So I naturally moderated my expectations. That being my first job interview, I had no idea how it would go. I did not prepare much for it, especially given how abruptly that opportunity had been presented to us. I just showed up for the interview, confident that having graduated from the university, completed and passed all of my exams at Kenya School of Law, and benefited from an engaging pupillage, I had everything going for me. The interview panel consisted of 3 people, who included the then Registrar of the High Court, Mr. Pritam Singh Bra. One memorable question asked was how I would deal with university students if they were brought to me or before my court for taking part in a riot. I believe my answer could probably have been better framed, but I said, in my view, students held peaceful protests, and it was the police officers who rioted by using excessive force on unarmed students. We had been informed that the results of the interviews would be out in a few days. However, as I walked out of the interview room, I had a sinking feeling that I had probably bungled my opportunity given how I had answered that one question. So it came as a surprise. A fortnight later, when I learned that I had passed the interview and was on my way to becoming a magistrate, well before I turned 24. I'll leave you to discover the rest for yourself and perhaps go to the afterword. As I bring this account to a close, I am reminded that this is not the end of the road, but rather a pivotal point in a journey that continues. Against the Tide is not merely a reflection of the battles I have faced in politics, advocacy, and leadership, but it is also a call to every reader to keep pushing forward in the face of adversity. The struggle for justice equality, and democracy, much like the quest for personal growth, is an ongoing endeavor. It is a tide that many choose not to confront, but those who do pave way for future generations. The political arena, much like life itself, is often a tumultuous sea. It demands courage, conviction, and a willingness to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. By sharing my story, I hope it serves as a reminder that while the path is long and often grueling, it is worth every step.